Hello everybody, this is Damon Rosen and I am here with the new home of Jacob's sheep. It is in the Upper Galilee, just a couple of miles from Hezbollah land, so to speak. And today we're going to talk about the biblical history and significance of Jacob's sheep, Israel's lost flock. And to do that is going to be a biblical code expert and someone who's become a good friend of mine and also happens to be the attorney for the flock of Jacob's sheep. His name is Shmuel Treister, and he's going to explain some of the biblical references and some of the stuff that makes the story of this flock that much more amazing.
So this beautiful lamb is a Jacob sheep, and these are sheep which traditionally were the sheep of Jacob, the patriarch. Jacob went to work for Lavan's daughters, and also for the sheep. There's a midrash that says that the nishamot, the souls of the people of Israel, were in the sheep that Lavan had. The first thing that Jacob did was he separated the sheep from the goats, because goats are much more, they have a different personality than sheep. Sheep have a tender, slow, simple, pure disposition. He's agreeing. So these sheep are the sheep for the Bet HaMikdash. We think that they're the original flock, and there are several things that make us think that. Firstly, it says of the sheep that Abraham Avinu saw when he wanted to sacrifice Yitzchak. It says that it was a sheep. He looked up and he saw an ayal, a male, a ram, nechaz b'sfach b'karnav, caught up in his horns in a bush. And these sort of sheep with four horns going this way and that way, they get caught in the bush all the time. Whereas a normal sheep with just two little horns, they don't get caught up in the bush. The soul of Yitzchak left him when he was put on the altar. He saw his father standing over him with a knife called a ma'achelet, an eating knife in Hebrew, and his soul left him. He died, he fainted heavily, whatever happened. The Chida says that his soul left him, and it was a female soul. That is more submissive. You can see that he let himself be tied up for the altar. It's called akudim. Akod means the marks where they tie up a korban, which is on its hands and on its legs together. So these sheep, they have that sign of akudim. So his soul left him, went into the ram, and when the ram was offered up, the soul of the ram went into Isaac. And you can see a change in behavior in Isaac immediately, because it says afterwards that Abraham went back to Beersheba, and it doesn't mention Isaac at all. And in fact, the Midrash says that Isaac went his own way. He went to learn Torah. So we see personalities changing through the sheep. We see one of the fathers of the Jewish people is connected with a sheep. And this perhaps is one of the reasons why in the temple these were the sheep which were sacrificed. Because what's a sacrifice? You take a sheep, you put your hands on it, and you make a confession of all of the things which you want to get out of your system, all of the things you want to cleanse, all of the things you don't want to have anything more to do with. And you give it to the sheep. And the sheep is sacrificed, and the Levi is playing music, which is exactly the sort of music that's needed for you to open up your heart and really feel that you're making a change, that you're doing something, that you're releasing a bad thing from you and a negative thing from you, and that you're going to receive something very positive. So the music that was accompanying that service, the Levium, would play exactly the right sort of music that would affect the soul of that person. And so it was a very meaningful thing. And then the sheep is sacrificed, and somehow the purity and the simplicity and the tamimut in Hebrew of the sheep comes as an aspect into the person. So you not only are you refreshed, but you're rejuvenated. You're made anew again. So we think the sheep are an integral part of this trans neshama system, and these sheep are the only ones which I know Chazal saying have a neshama. Everywhere else they have a nefesh be'amit. But these sheep, the Chida uses the word neshama. Came out. So you can, what you have to do is meet them and see them. Firstly, they're not big. They're small. They're like a puppy. And they're very friendly. And they look at you in the eye and they're sweet. They're 7%, their brain is 7% bigger than the normal sheep. So they're much smarter than a normal sheep. At the age of 3 days, they've already answered to their name. If they want to. They're very independent, which is sort of a Jewish trait. They carry a Jewish genetic disease called Tay-Sachs disease. They have that disease. I don't know of any other animals that have an Ashkenazi Jewish genetic disease, but these guys do. Their color and their wool is exactly in line with the way that when it talks about Jacob, how he had to deal with Laban, and he did it by changing the way the sheep were spotted, or had big spots or small spots, or were akudim, or had rings around their legs and feet, or a ring right around them. So these sheep responded somehow to genetic engineering, not only internally but also on the very outside aspect of them. So they're a very special animal. Of course, Jacob studied in the cave of Shem and Ever. We have a tradition that he studied in Tzfat for 14 years. What did he learn there? Well, Shem was on the ark. If Jacob didn't learn about sheep and about animals from the best teachers that were ever existed in mankind, then I don't know what else he did. But for sure he learned about sheep, because he left Lavan with more than 750,000 sheep, says the Midrash. And so they became very abundant. These guys, the dogs, accompany them when they give birth, and the dogs eat the embryonic sac and free up the babies, the lambs. So what you see is a connection with these sheep which has run thousands of years. The sheep is our national animal. We get, for example, we get the tzitzis that we wear, we get from a sheep. We put on tefillin in the morning, that's from leather from a sheep. The boxes are made of leather which is from a sheep. Or from another animal, but the point is that the wool that we have our talit made of, and the ram's horn that we blow on Rosh Hashanah, that's only from the sheep. And so they give us all of the things which we need in holiness. We have given to us by these animals. The whole range of things which you need for the year, it basically comes from these animals. And we hope that they'll also be given a chance to eat outside in the mountains of Israel and roam with shepherds, and that the mountains of Israel will be full of these beautiful sheep, and everybody will enjoy them and come and play with them and talk to them and play music to them, and that's our story.
So there you have it, folks. Some pretty interesting factoids from Shmuel Treister, a biblical code expert from Tzfat, one of Israel's 4 holy cities and the home of Kabbalah. When this video is over, I'd like everyone to please visit the Facebook page, Jacob Sheep Israel. Again, Jacob Sheep Israel. And if you can't afford it, any contribution you could make to the lost flock of Israel would be most appreciated. This is not a commercial flock that is milked, certainly not slaughtered for meat. We rely 100% on donations. We have to pay rent on the barn, feed, vaccinations, other medical bills. This is not a cheap endeavor. This is really just to fulfill biblical prophecy. We have a few lambs left that you can name for $180, and we're also starting a campaign of nickname an adult sheep. So all the adults are named, but if you want to nickname one, we'll tell you how to do that as well. And anything you can afford would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon.